Good morning and welcome to the Overland Legend and part 2 of Mozambique Paradise. In part 1 we found ourselves here in this beautiful spot on Paindane beach in the Inhambane province of Mozambique. In part 2 we go on a whole lot of adventures to an island, we discover new beaches and find sea creatures. With the sun coming up, it was going to be another beautiful day and time to get out and explore. Our first trip was a boat trip to Pansy Island. And if you don't know what the Pansy in Pansy Island stands for, then stick around, because I didn't know either, and when I found out, I was so surprised. We had decided to take the back routes up to Barra, and so we followed the route marked in red all the way along the coast. These sand tracks through the palm groves are my favorite type of off-road route. The scenery is just amazing, with glimpses of the sea as you drive along the coast. The sand wasn't too thick, and with my tires down to 1.5 bar, the disco had no problems. It wasn't all smooth going though, and was pretty bumpy most of the way. Bumpy enough for the disco to complain with the dreaded suspension error. But I've gotten used to these random errors, and they don't slow progress and clear after restarting anyway. We were going to meet the boat right at the edge of the Inhambane salt marshes, and so we had to park above the waterline as the tide was coming in. If we didn't get back in time, we would be stuck here until the tide went out again. We all grabbed our snorkelling stuff and headed for the boat, keen to get onto the water. Okay, go, get in. Once we were all done, we were back on the boat, heading for Pansy Island. As soon as we landed, the search was on. We were searching for pansy shells. This was not difficult because the island was full of them. The challenge was going to be to find the biggest one. It was the first time I had found one of these. It was fascinating to find these shells that looked like they had been handmade and painted.
Yeah, this is my favorite one. This one here.
That's a real proper shell, that.
Yeah. This is one of those ones that you would buy.
Looks nice, eh?
Okay.
After having a quick lunch on the island, we headed back, hoping that we were still in time to make it out before the tide had come fully up. And yes, we were fine. The tide wasn't up and we were out in time. On our way back, we went past Barra beach and I was keen to check it out because I remember the last time I was here in 1995 and driving along the side of this lagoon to get to the beach. It's changed quite a lot since then, obviously with all the development. We also decided to pop into Tofu to check it out, and I was also looking for a kitesurfing school that was based in the town. But unfortunately we couldn't find the school, but what we did find were crowds and crowds of people. As tradition would have it, on a Sunday afternoon in Mozambique, you head for the beach. And these guys looked like they were pretty well prepared. The route back took us through Inhambane town, which was nice just to check it out and see what it looked like, as we passed the headquarters of the Frelimo movement here. And then heading towards the bay, we also passed the statue of Samora Machel, you can just see on the right hand side as we go past. And then just some great views of the bay as we headed home. This is what it looks like to wake up in a Mozambique paradise. Absolutely amazing. And every day just seems like it's better than the last. And today was no different, as we were heading for the beach for some snorkeling and kitesurfing action. But that's not all. The best part was the drive down to the beach. We were excited to have our first snorkel on the Paindane reef and see what it was going to be like.
I keep on getting stuff in my mouth. Keep getting water stuck in your mouth.
With the wind coming up, the snorkeling wasn't ideal, so it was time to get the kites out. With the wind setting in, we decided to head back. Driving on the beach in Mozambique is not allowed, except for some short sections around some of the resort areas. And this short piece on Paindane Beach, you were allowed to come down on your vehicle. And then getting out was the fun part, as you had to go back up the dune. Walking down to the beach was a bit of a trek because of the big sand dunes, but they were perfect to try out a bit of sandboarding. Unfortunately, the wind was gone, so no more kite surfing, but it was perfect to go snorkeling again. and this time we had another great session. When you're the only people on the beach, you can be sure that some entrepreneurial salesperson will find you. Like this guy I found on the beach who made a living from making these really cool key rings and bracelets.
Never get some people to teaching you, but you just think yourself. If you think yourself, and then you never die for hunger, and then you can make a plan to get something to eat, you see. To make it richer, but man, to buy a food, that is a profit, because still is not.
The days were racing past and we were quickly coming to the end of our trip, but I still had one more thing I wanted to do, and that was a trip down the coast to find a resort that I'd heard about. Okay, so today we're just going on a little excursion down the beach to see if we can find a spot that I've heard of. A friend of ours has a small lodge there called Casa, and it's just outside. You basically take the route from Jangoma across, but I've come down from Paindane down to here, so we're just taking this route. It's a really nice route through the palm groves. I'd been using some tracks or routes that I'd got from the Tracks for Africa website for Mozambique, and I downloaded them into my GPS and plotted some routes, and they were spot on, and we never set a foot wrong, and it took us on all these really cool tracks and got us to our destination in the end. We were really enjoying this route, and Ewan couldn't believe how much fun he was having.
That was fun. That was very, very fun and enjoyable.
It's fun, eh? That's why I love travelling like this, to go to places.
But the track was pretty narrow, and there was not much room for anyone to pass. So when we came across this herdsman, we had to pull over to give him some space. As the cows passed, it was amazing to see that this herdsman just had one leg and was walking up and down these sand dunes with his crutches.
Thank you.
Pansy.
Thanks, eh?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And now we're on the last stretch just going down to the beach on this sandy track, which is pretty sandy. You need to make sure you've got your tires right down because it's almost like driving on the beach, and some steep sand dune tracks, 2 of them to get through, but it's been really nice getting through it, and yeah, and we're almost getting to the spot, so it looks really good. The beach I heard is very nice, so we're just going to check it out and see if it's a place that we can stay in future. So it's looking nice so far.
We were quite relieved to find life at the end of this road, because even though we trusted our Tracks for Africa route, it's still nice to know that it was right in the end. Anyway, so we stopped and had a chat to the guys, and unfortunately the friend of ours wasn't here, but local caretaker Carlos was, and was quite happy to show us down to the beach. And this resort, which is fairly basic with some chalets and some camping spots with private barraccas. As we crested the dune, we were rewarded with an awesome view of the sea as we drove down the track towards the beach. The resort is situated halfway up the dune, so we couldn't go all the way down, and stopped halfway and then walked further down to the beach. And what we saw was a beautiful open beach with a really nice long reef, quite a bit longer than the Paindane reef. And so this really looks like a great spot. After saying thanks to Carlos, we were back in the car and ready to go back up the hill. But we had to let our tires down first because the sand was so soft and we were struggling to get out. But once we had done that, we had no issues. And we popped back over the dune and were on our way back through those cool tracks again. There was still one spot that we had to check out. It's a fairly well-known destination on this section of coastline, and that's Guinjata Bay. It was just a couple of kilometers up the beach from where we were staying, and so we took a short drive down to the beach for some sundowners. We went down to the beach bar, which was right next to the dive center, where the ladies had a gin and tonic and we cracked open a doshem, and just reflected on a really awesome week that we'd had in this Mozambique Paradise. I hope you enjoyed that episode, and thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'd love to hear in the comments below about your trips to Mozambique. In the next and final episode in Mozambique Paradise, we head to the bush and we nearly get lost.
Hi, how are you? Alright, we're on the still alright road to get to the border post, eh?
We have some nervous moments and pass through the Kruger Park, and then we share with you our tips for traveling in Mozambique.